Rachel was desperate to play Evita on. You know, it was her idea, and
it's hard and it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
The theater industry is currently abuzz with quiet murmurs and speculative chatter surrounding a recording that could potentially jeopardize the future of one of its most promising young stars, Rachel Zegler. Once celebrated for her breakout, roles and meteoric rise, Zegler now finds herself in the eye of a growing storm. During rehearsals for the Weston production of Evita, multiple sources close to the show claim an audio recording exists that allegedly captures what they describe as a full-blown emotional meltdown. The incident has reportedly left many within the cast and crew deeply unsettled. What makes this situation even more alarming isn't merely the incident itself, but rather how it appears to echo a troubling pattern that has been quietly unfolding throughout Zegler's relatively young but highly scrutinized career. Those who claim to have heard the audio describe a tense confrontation in which Zegler is said to have raised her voice at director Jamie Lloyd, disputing creative decisions related to the staging. The exchange reportedly intensified until something was slammed onto the floor, possibly a chair or microphone, adding a physical edge to the emotional tension. You can hear her unravel, one insider allegedly stated, describing a moment where Zegler purportedly challenged Lloyd over his interpretation of Eva Perón's final scene. According to these sources, the actress became so overwhelmed that she reportedly threatened to walk out altogether, allegedly shouting, "I don't need this, I don't need any of this," before storming out and leaving the room in what one witness described as a state of emotional paralysis. While the actual audio hasn't been released to the public, the mere knowledge of its existence has reportedly shifted the atmosphere among the cast. Rehearsals have become tense, with actors and crew walking on eggshells, uncertain which version of Zegler will show up, sometimes withdrawn and emotionally distant, other times intensely reactive and unpredictable. A chorus dancer, allegedly, confided that they were somewhat relieved the recording exists, not out of vindictiveness, but because we want people to believe us. The origins of the recording remain murky. Some believe it may have been accidentally captured via a live microphone that was part of standard rehearsal documentation, while others suspect it might have been recorded deliberately by team members concerned for their own professional protection. The fact that it hasn't leaked is widely believed to be due to strict legal boundaries. Cast and crew reportedly signed non-disclosure agreements, and sharing the recording could lead to immediate termination and potential lawsuits. Meanwhile, director Jamie Lloyd has remained conspicuously silent throughout the controversy, a silence that many interpret as indicative of internal chaos. Insiders say he has spent more time managing Zegler's emotional states than directing the actual show, and his communication with her has reportedly shifted to being routed through assistants, an ominous sign in any theatrical production. For those who have closely followed Zegler's career, this reported outburst isn't entirely unexpected. It seems to align with a pattern that began with awkward media appearances during the Snow White press tour and continued with whispers of friction in previous productions. What was once brushed off as youthful immaturity or lack of media training is now being reconsidered as evidence of deeper, more systemic issues. And now, even though the recording remains hidden from public ears, its impact is already being felt, and the consequences are beginning to unfold.
Things I've said, I don't absolve myself from that. I'm not sitting here being like, I'm 21, please forgive me. Like, the stupid I've said and done is stupid. But I just want to say, in my personal life, I intend to move forward with a lot more grace for myself as I grow. There is a lot that I don't know, and I won't know it until I learn it, until I feel it, until I understand it, until I can see it in my hands and say, I am not broken, I am just learning. My break is not my...
With the mere rumor of the audio going public, industry insiders are already suggesting that Rachel Zegler's name is quietly being scrubbed from shortlists for high-profile projects. Everyone's watching Evita, but not because they want to buy tickets, one casting associate reportedly commented, capturing the gravity of the situation. The repercussions of this alleged recording go well beyond a single rehearsal room. They've sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. In an industry that now has little patience for erratic or difficult behavior, where professionalism is valued just as highly, if not more, than raw talent, reputation is currency. And in Zegler's case, that currency appears to be rapidly depleting. Casting directors and talent agents are reportedly recalibrating their approach, with one veteran agent noting that clients who once jumped at the chance to work with Zegler are now slowly backing away. She used to be a symbol of where the industry was going, the agent remarked. Now she's more like a cautionary tale. What's making this fallout especially destructive is its timing. Hollywood has shifted. The old era of the untouchable diva is gone, replaced by a new standard that demands grace under pressure and collaboration without chaos. In today's streamlined production environment, where budgets are tight and delays can spell disaster, difficult behavior isn't just inconvenient, it's a liability. Should this recording ever leak, the damage would likely be instantaneous. Within mere hours, it would be all over social media, flooding TikTok, trending on X, dissected in reaction videos, and dominating entertainment news cycles. The actual content of the audio might be secondary. The confirmation of volatility behind the scenes would be enough to irrevocably alter public and industry perception. One producer reportedly joked, "If that file leaks, she'll go from West in to West out," as in out of offers. Several members of the Evita production are said to be proactively updating their resumes and reaching out to representation, not out of betrayal, but out of self-preservation. "It's not about loyalty," a seasoned swing performer explained. "It's about survival. No one wants to sink with this ship." This mounting anxiety highlights not only concern about Zegler's behavior, but growing frustration with leadership's refusal to address it. Director Jamie Lloyd's silence, once seen as professional discretion, is now being interpreted as enabling. Known for his exacting directorial style and intense emotional clarity, Lloyd's sudden absence from promotional events and public commentary speaks volumes. Insiders claim he's been consulting legal counsel, reportedly weighing the risks of recasting Zegler against the instability that might come from keeping her in the lead. For many in the cast, the rumored recording was less a revelation and more a vindication. "It was building," one ensemble member alleged. "You could feel it every day, like we were just waiting for something to explode." Crew members echoed this sentiment, not out of spite, but because the audio confirms what they had been experiencing all along. The recording is believed to have been made during a particularly heated clash over staging that Zegler insisted had never been previously discussed. "You're not hearing me!" she allegedly shouted, her voice cracking with emotion. Reports say the argument escalated further as she challenged Lloyd's vision and even turned on a crew member, accusing them of bringing bad energy into the rehearsal space. The ripple effect has extended far beyond the production itself, affecting Zegler's public image in ways that may be irreversible. What some once chalked up to the growing pains of a young star navigating fame now seems part of a repeating cycle. From her controversial remarks during the Snow White press tour, where she was accused of dismissing the original fairy tale's themes, to unconfirmed tension on previous sets, the emerging pattern is drawing concern. Theories about how the audio was captured vary. Some believe it was a byproduct of standard documentation, while others suspect someone pressed record deliberately, hoping to create a safeguard against professional fallout. Either way, its existence has forever changed the internal landscape of the Evita production, and if it ever surfaces publicly, the fallout for Zegler could be catastrophic. Observers suggest the ramifications would reach far beyond this show. Theater companies and film studios alike would likely hesitate to align with a name more synonymous with backstage drama than with performance excellence. Marketing campaigns would pivot from promotion to crisis control. Contingency plans to replace Zegler might be activated faster than anyone can issue a press release. Her representatives would likely be forced into emergency reputation management, drafting statements, arranging damage control interviews, or even recommending a brief exit from the spotlight. But once hard evidence replaces hearsay, controlling the narrative becomes nearly impossible. "It's not he said, she said anymore," one industry insider remarked. "It's here's exactly what she said, on tape." The concern runs deeper because Zegler has deliberately positioned herself as more than just an actress. She's attempted to become a generational voice, but a documented breakdown could dismantle that carefully constructed identity overnight. Social media, especially platforms like TikTok, could be especially brutal, remixing audio clips with past interviews to paint a stark contrast between her polished public image and her reported private behavior. What makes this moment potentially career-defining isn't just the severity of the alleged outburst, but how it appears to be the latest chapter in a troubling professional arc. From West Side Story to Snow White to Evita, each project seems to end not in triumph, but in turbulence. Accolades are being replaced by apologies, and defenders defenders online are starting to sound like damage control rather than genuine fans. Some seasoned professionals suggest the only viable path forward may be for Zegler to completely step back, not for a PR rebrand, but for authentic self-reflection and growth. Her off-camera performance is drowning out the one on stage, a respected theater director quietly observed. Rebuilding from this will take more than a new role. It'll require a reinvention rooted in humility. Even if the recording never sees the light of day, the damage may already be irreversible. Key players in casting and production now view Zegler as a risk, one many are no longer willing to take. One top-tier agent reportedly summed it up bluntly: there are plenty of talented young women out there, with none of the baggage. And the most heartbreaking part for many is that Rachel Zegler genuinely had the raw ability to become one of the brightest stars of her generation. Her early performances were luminous, filled with passion and charisma, but that promise is being eclipsed by offstage controversies that refuse to die down. The central question now is no longer about talent, but whether this moment marks the end of a career once full of promise or the beginning of a hard-earned transformation. For Evita, the uncertainty has turned into a logistical and creative challenge. Audience confidence may waver, ticket sales could dip, and the creative team must now evaluate whether forging ahead with Zegler is worth the risk. From cast to crew, everyone involved is holding their breath. Sources close to Zegler's management say they're bracing for all outcomes, including the potential leak of the recording, and that alone reveals the severity of the situation. As one seasoned publicist put it, the second something like this exists, even if it never leaks, it changes everything. People talk. And in theater, where collaboration depends entirely on trust, that change may be permanent. Whether Zegler can rebuild that trust, either within Evita or in future creative circles, remains the defining question that will shape the rest of her career.